All right. Welcome, friends. This is episode 44 plus of Shipbreakers, a Stars Without Numbers revised game. I apologize for the last episode. My computer died. It is actually dead and has had to be replaced with a new PC. Some sort of power surge issue the week or two beforehand had just gotten completely out of hand. I only noticed it when, well, of course, the recording was total garbage. And then a USB drive was reporting problems, and I was like, a power issue with the USB drive. And then I was going, is that the only drive that's been affected? And so I bought a new computer the next day, which is how we got here.
Welcome and then it's like an AI hacked your system. An AI named MINERVA.
No. There's going to be some weird analytics on this particular video now. We should get some other buzzwords out there. Crypto, election,
machine
what else?
Learning.
Yes.
AI. Yes. Neural networks. No, those are old school now.
Pennsylvania.
Florida.
I'll tell you the one that drives
AI.
me nuts is
Texas.
North Carolina consistently shows ads for me on YouTube, which I don't know why, but
weird.
If we say that name, perhaps we can get more ads from North Carolina for all our viewers.
We need more Mimi things. Ohio.
Hey, listen, a Rizzler's last hots should be of Ohio. That's all I'm saying.
So true. No cap. Wait.
Yes, that's correct. No cap. You'd be capping if it was cap. Friends,
I feel so old now.
This is the last ride of the LAS Golden Goose as we go into the aftersodes, the epilogue. Let's see here. I had a little something prepared to keep us all on track and to help tie up some storylines because there's a lot going on. Quentin, in the last 2 weeks, a lot has happened. You've had to come to terms with your new genetic mutations regarding temperature and a nearly full-time care of your sister. I mean, an auto doctor is an auto doctor, but an auto doctor is not medically suited to taking care of someone whose skin was recently completely on fire, was composed of fire. And her mutations, given the length of time she spent in the Omnia Junction, are a lot more complete than yours. Other things fill your time during the drill transits. Organizing a return fleet to come claim your new kingdom, establish the space station, break into all of those ships, claim and register them. You need to do the paperwork to claim the Gemini cluster because you've officially been there. And there are rumors in the other part of the Gemini cluster that there are a planet of shamans who may in fact be psionically active. And if that's true, you may be able to find teachers for your psionic academy, some of whom may have been following a tradition as old as the Terran Mandate, meaning they're not using new age woo-woo science like even your grandparents were, but like truly ancient techniques written in the old days, the kind of stuff you were looking for but never actually found. That sort of thing, though, we're saving for, like, if we ever do a holiday reunion episode of this show, that'll be, for the charity game. Yeah, exactly. And beyond all of that, you still need to get the funds together to pay for the repair of your cruiser, drag it to a location that it can be repaired because the system that it's in is a backwater with nothing in it, and then get those repairs underway. Your brief touchdown in reality outside of drill space to refuel and continue on your way to Scarfy has flooded your ship with information about this burgeoning war that's happening, some very strange things happening between different polities. Warships are being deployed in greater numbers, and incidents are happening. And behind all of it, piracy has basically stopped, and no one knows why. And it's deeply worrying to the community of planets. Minerva, your thoughts turn to all the questions you've had settled. You know who you are now. You know what your mission is. You know who your god is. All of your time and processing power has been turned towards one goal in the last 2 weeks, and that is to develop any kind of sensor technology capable of detecting dust. You've been working on it for some time, and you finally have accomplished a breakthrough. You didn't need to invent a new piece of technology. You had to circumvent the technology you already have. In the same way that your medical scanners recognized that Van-Vee had an extra organ for the link inside of his brain, but thought that because that's standard base Terran mandate human, they were never like, we've detected a strange extra organ. They go, everything's A-okay in there. Your sensor systems are all programmed based off of old Terran mandate tech, which says, ignore nanoparticle dust. Remove it from everything. It's like a machine code filter programmed into everything. At the most base code level, you have managed to remove that. You don't have any defense against the dust currently, except to engage it at a programming level. You can't physically stop it. But you are now capable of detecting it on your own ship, where it is slowly dying, actually. So the dust played a huge part in helping defend against the artificial intelligence's attacks on your ship. But it can only live for so long before it needs to be replaced. From what you can tell, this appears to be a defense mechanism to prevent alien species from capturing the dust and determining what it does, right? Like, you can't just capture it in a jar and be like, all right, well, we have a month to study this. You get like about 2 weeks. So you're basically down to whatever is left out of Iono's lungs that's still in there from all of the breathing she's been doing, because she's been fully dosed with dust particles, and it uses humans as a power source. Like, it goes in there and it borrows a little bit of energy from mitochondria and, the breeding ground in the lungs, and then pops back out in the carbon dioxide waves and reinfects everything. But it has to be produced from that central device that you're carrying but haven't actually plugged in yet. So what little dust you have left, you are capable of detecting, and it may prove of some use to you as you enter the atmosphere of Scarfy. And to Van-Vee,
thank you for sending me back to like I don't know, biology 101, mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell.
Yeah, okay.
I think everyone's heard that phrase.
We need to definitely get you to play Parasite Eve 1 for sure. Mitochondria. For you, Van-Vee, so little of what has happened so far has made sense to you. The captain is a mutant, as is his sister, through ways that make absolutely no sense to you. Nothing that happened with Minerva and the electronic warfare, no one told you that the Knights Paladins were leaving. They just disappeared out of nowhere. You basically just turned the ship towards the Catavalise system and Scarfy, and just basically said, we're going there because we've done all of your guys' stuff. And now we really, really need to handle this part. What little
last time I was like, hey, do you want to jump to Scarfy? And Minerva's like, I already took us out. I was like, what?
What little you do know about everything that's happened this entire season is that an artificial intelligence planted the program you call MINERVA into your path to induce you and Minerva to complete a specific task for it. And then once that happened, you found yourself as part of the central maelstrom of an increasingly chaotic political breakdown until finally you had to go kill Program Daddy. Everything Quentin and Minerva have done, they've shared so little of it with you. We know it as audience members to the show, but Van-Vee is not privy to any of that information. But now it's your time to head to Scarfy in order to confront your people, your parents, perhaps even copies of yourself, and save or damn those who have been enslaved by the dust. As the ship comes out of drill space in Catavalise, You are listening to the sounds of a podcast called This Calinomian Life that's coming from Dr. Iono Canto's like personal headset speakers. She's got like one of the earbuds off while she's drinking some coffee, and you can hear that it's talking about that the first statue that's being constructed isn't of the three of you. It's not of a new statue that's being constructed of Honorary Major Sinistra, as a particular cartel leader has taken to blockade running for the planet Calanom and has been raised to hero of the people. In fact, the first statue that's been made in the last 6 months since your intervention there is of Louis. And as a result, a huge part of the blockade runs are delivering giant capybaras to the people there, as it's now the number one demanded pet. They've never had access because they've been a sanctioned planet that's been blockaded. And now that the drug dealers / now righteous blockade runners are running in ships full of feed and giant capybaras, the whole planet is basically buying them up as quickly as possible, which is a real problem for the local economy because they're communists and they aren't really into the whole independent economic exchange thing. With that said, Calanom is acquiring more ships. Getting that first ship was the real problem, the cruiser. And now that that's working, they've been circumventing the normal polities in order to just buy like half slag scrap and turn them into space stations and just generally grow their economy. They are in a position that they believe that they can join the community of planets and have tasked the Glory to Calanom, the cruiser you helped rebuild, to joining the blockade fleet, which is seen as the first step towards being recognized as a major power. So Iono just like stops playing that as you all get a emergency communication. It is a distress beacon coming over a normal non-emergency channel, which is a little unusual, proclaiming that the ship is the ARGS Behemoth, that it has taken on damage and requires specialists and volunteers immediately, that it is capable of taking on frigate-sized ships and is waiting now for you to arrive and join the militia. Message repeats. This is the ARGS Behemoth.
It's an automated message, or is it
It
like...
does seem to be automated. Now, the voice that says it is definitely human, but then there's the message repeats.
ARGS. Are we familiar with ARGS?
You're not. You run it through the database. Even your like old Terra Mandate level stuff, you are not aware of any political or naval entity that goes by the initials ARG.
Well,
and we're receiving this distress call specifically where?
It is a ship that is in orbit of the drill space point. So it is not in orbit of Scarfy. It is gravitationally in the orbit of the drill space point above the sun.
In the system that Scarfy said.
In the system of Scarfy, Cat of Lease.
you know, guys, I feel like we've read this book before, where we show up somewhere, is a distress signal, and it repeats itself. Sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think the only question is how close and how fast do we get?
Yeah. It's a little interesting. It's coming in over normal communications, I guess. MINERVA, can you check the emergency communication channel, see if it's even up and running? I mean, why would they use normal comms? Seems a little fishy.
Do a full spectrum scan. See what other transmissions are coming over on different frequencies.
There are no other transmissions coming from different frequencies. There is nothing coming from Scarfy. And as you do a full spectrum scan of the ship, you recognize that there are no internal wireless systems. Now, I know you heard me say that. I want to explain more deeply. It's not that there are no Wi-Fi communications on board. It's that there are no systems capable of Wi-Fi communication on board. There is only this normal band spectrum communications. And it's not the emergency mast. It's the regular communications mast sending an emergency system.
If I send a signal to the receiver, do I get some sort of acknowledgement of a received signal?
King ARGS Behemoth.
You do get a acknowledge receipt of message signal, and when that happens, the ship's credit account is dinged 2,000 credits.
What?
You can see that the side doors on the Behemoth open up to... So your frigate is basically the largest possible size frigate that you can have because it's a salvaging ship, right? And it's got all this extra equipment and extra length. You can probably squeeze it into this bay.
So if we can see the door opening, is there any other distinctive markers on this Behemoth thing that we should...
So there's the white lettering ARGS Behemoth on it. You can see that there is a trail of damage running behind it, like something struck the ship and like parts flew off and are now frozen in orbit behind it in a way that Quentin finds kind of haunting based on his prequel episode.
Mm-hmm.
Does it seem more like accident damage or battle damage?
I don't know that you have the capability to determine that.
Do we have a way of like
The
dating
ship seems
how...
to have been struck externally, for sure.
Yeah. How close
How
are
do
we at
you
this
tell
point?
the
Like,
difference
we're-
between a railgun round and accidentally colliding with an asteroid, you know?
and shitty piloting?
Does it look like a single impact, or are there more impacts across the hull?
Oh, such a great question. There is one large gash, and there are numerous smaller impacts across the hull that appear to be at like exterior doors.
Could I try to extrapolate some kind of pattern of the impacts? Like, does it have a pattern of like all of those projectiles coming in the same direction at the same velocity? Or is it strikes from different angles?
Such a great question. All right. So you are enhancing, zooming in. You notice there is the single external strike. That is the big gash. The things that are near the like external doors and entryway hatches, things that people would use to take to go EVA, they appear to be less like external strikes like asteroids hitting and more like scratches from blades of some kind striking the hull.
Is there any way of trying to date how long a message was originally posted? Like, is there any like timestamp or anything with it? No, I wasn't sure. Well, I was gonna want to talk to you guys about what is our goal here to like MINERVA. I know you want to free people, but it feels like we're being thrown into the thick of it quickly with this ARGS Behemoth. And it looks like they're inviting us over.
I'm unfamiliar with ARGS. Not from anything that I learned from. It's not from anything that I've learned since interfacing with other Imago Dei. It's not anything that I remember from any of the information I picked up since I joined you.
And in those, I doubt it, but those runners we got, or I should say, you got from your fellas there, that there was no reference to ARGS in there.
Not in anything that I've downloaded. I mean, I looked through the databanks on that ship to try to learn what I could, and that mission did not have knowledge of ARGS.
And we probably don't want to talk to them again because I like me and the captain. I think like our money where it is.
Well, it seems an acknowledgement was considered an acceptance of birth.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
It was a one-time purchase, but
we paid for the front door to be open. It's now
that's
open.
right.
Be a shame for us not to then follow through.
It's a bit how I'm feeling. I sure would love to take a look, but
And I'm not getting any signals from anywhere else. There's
It-
no other communications coming from different systems on that ship. I'm not getting anything from the planet. And it seems like aside from hostily taking over the transmitter and seeing what I can reach from the transmitter system, there's not anything else that I can reach without, I'd have to digitally attack the ship to see if I could get to any other systems.
Well, it's probably a bit extreme. I mean, they are here broadcasting for help, and we generally do try to help everyone we encounter. So this feels no different. We're just a bit more cautious now, I guess, in our later 20 years, late 20s.
Enough brushes with death, right?
I guess the one thing we should be prepared for, MINERVA, is whatever it is you did with that black box beforehand to, wipe the dust. I guess we should have that on standby just in case more dust are here and try to take us over or something like that.
The security protocols are intact. It's just powered off right now because you wanted it to be off when we arrived in system.
Right. How exactly would you know when to turn that on?
Can I detect any dust on the ARGS Behemoth?
There is no dust on the Behemoth.
Okay. There is very little dust left on our ship, and I don't detect any on the Behemoth.
Oh, I didn't know you could detect dust. That's cool.
I can now.
What do you see in me?
Not very
So
much.
clean. No, it's so clean.
It's
perfectly wiped. Pure.
Leaky.
Format Fat 32.
The answer is just there's very little on our ship.
All right. Well, you did the right thing back there. Just, I guess we should be ready to do it again here potentially. I'm glad you can detect it now. Sounds like we're probably safe on the Behemoth. So, I don't know, Cap, should we lend him a hand? See what's going on?
I think it's the right thing to do at this point. But, at the very least, we gotta get to the heart of the mystery here.
Safe from corrupted dust. That's about the only specific thing you can say you're safe from at this point. Without attacking the ship, I can't really tell you what's going on inside.
If you attack the ship, can they tell you're attacking the ship, or are you just like so advanced now that no one even knows what you're doing?
And going through a transmitter, it's likely they would notice some sort of interrupt with the amount of traffic I'd be flowing through it.
All right. Well, I guess we should be friendly neighbors then and see if they want a cup of sugar.
When you get to within a few dozen meters of the hull entryway, there is a request for the flight autopilot system to take over your docking.
Well, I guess for $2,000, the least they can do is park it for us.
Do you want to release flight controls to this unknown
would
ship?
Van-Vee do that?
I feel like you were probably watching like Van-Vee just kind of fake steer because he knows MINERVA is actually doing it, and then when the request comes in, he kind of just lets go with the handles or whatever.
Well, you're steering. Like MINERVA
This is
only
my
took
favorite
over
thing
for the
about
fight.
Van-Vee. He is fully in control of the ship at all times, but he is constantly like Minerva's driving. I'm not doing
Yes, yeah. He's constantly 100%. He's like, if I even just like turn around or sneeze or something.
Never once has Minerva taken control, but
So
Van-Vee
just to
is
be
like,
very
she's
clear,
always doing
Minerva,
this.
Van-Vee dangerously lets his hands off the controls as you begin drifting towards the entry portal way, and you start getting like increasing amount of warning signals from the Behemoth, like, warning, you are approaching at too high
Collision
speed,
course.
reduced
Collision
awake,
course.
reduced
I
awake,
take control.
reduced awake.
The hands come off. He's like, it's like Minerva's just driving anyways while he's driving, and he lets
Van-Vee
go, and
says, "I knew it.
Minerva starts driving to stop us from crashing.
And then when the second you take over, there's like a little bit of rapid acceleration. I'm like, man, their auto docking sucks.
I want to make a copy of the flight control computer
Okay.
and store it.
Yeah.
And then I want to basically firewall off our flight control system.
Okay.
And I will give control to the local, to the ship. And if I don't like what's happening, I plan to cut the connection, completely reformat, purge the flight control system.
It successfully docks you, and it is pretty touchy. You enter into a bay that is large enough. There's one landing pad big enough for your free trader frigate, and then there are 6 landing spots for like shuttles and you really take up all those extra spots as well as the ship settles in, and your arm like kind of swings awkwardly around before getting the salvage arm secured. When that happens, you see that you are in a large rectangular room, somewhat similar to the combat map that I have prepared for you. You're down here. You can see poorly lit on like a really steel, like blackened wall is a logo. It's circular. It says on the top part of the circle, it says 66 FAST Fleet Action Station Teams. The bottom of the circle says Eternity and Victory, and the middle of the like logo area is a skull, but the nose has been replaced with a downward facing like bayonet knife.
Does this make Quentin think of that mercenary group that reached out to him at all?
It does seem kind of like that. When the ship has like fully settled in, you can see that a light begins flashing like beep, 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 and you can see that there are a set of 6 like almost Dragon Ball Z style scouters and like chess pieces and strange like even for you in the 3200s futuristic looking laser pistols are all hanging on like equipment hooks by a door deeper into the station.
One of the chess pieces, a pistol, and another thing float up and start spinning around in front of Van-Vee. What do we got here, Van-Vee?
Please tell me that's you, Cap.
So you're floating so you're like floating it into in front of the cockpit?
Yeah.
Okay. You can see that the scouter is like lighting up and there's like a green light for a communication system. Although to be clear, Minerva, you aren't detecting any internal communications.
Can I get what was that thing called? The little drone thing we bought. Can I get that guy fired up?
Yeah,
Wait, have him scanning around. Yeah.
Okay.
Get him fired up. He's scanning and doing a little perimeter search. But Cap, I think I saw this movie a long time ago that kind of reminds me of this a little bit. I think it was called Predator or something like that.
Your Voidhawk detects that there is a lot of additional machinery built into the walls here, and it looks like your ship is about to experience an auto wash sequence.
Oh.
Whatever. You said you're not detecting anything here, like not even life signs or anything?
I'm not sensing any kind of transmissions. It seems like if they have, for a ship this size, they must have some sort of internal communication system. It must just be cabled instead of wireless.
I don't have the rule book open, but I know the God Hunter thing gives Quentin the ability to like reach out and see if there's any shadow presence in the area.
Sure.
He goes ahead and does that.
The only shadow presence you sense is coming from directly behind you.
My buddy. All right.
Since we're inside the outer hull, can I try to see if I can penetrate bulkheads for a sort of biological scan?
You run a biological scan, and you believe that there are no biological entities beside your companions on this ship. And it's not that you're not detecting anything. Like, you detect you're going through the hull correctly, you're receiving all the signals. You don't detect any biological signals on board.
Well, folks, what do you say? We going in?
There's got to be something worth grabbing on the ship. I mean,
this is what we live and breathe.
It's still communicating, even though no one's here and nothing's here. But it's got to be something worth grabbing, right? I mean, who knows? Maybe there's some information on Grace. He hesitates and he doesn't call her mom. He just says Grace.
More info is better than no info. Let's do it.
I mean, there's a lot that we don't understand about the purpose and function of the ship. It's specifically designed without a lot of the features.
All I can say is right now, it sure seems hospitality based, although that symbology there is a little suspect.
And
just as a consideration, right? The ship, our ship, it's not a museum piece. It's not state of the art, but it's not a museum piece. But even this, we have like wireless systems in order to simplify and enhance the electronics on board. This ship specifically is designed without it.
Battlestar Galactica theme intensifies.
I think as Minerva is going through like the technology specs, you kind of see Van-Vee like holstering his blaster pistol, and on like a little tablet thing, he's zooming in on one of the shots of the side of the behemoth, trying to gauge how big the scratches are and what could make a scratch that big.
It does.
Quentin points out to the like pistol and the thing spinning out there. What about those things? Like, is that advanced?
Oh yeah,
or
that's a bigger gun. We should use that.
So who's deploying on this? Iono is going to stay on board.
That sounds like a good call.
Louis and Hamtaro too don't appear to be in a big thrill to get out there.
Nothing seems to be blocking my signals. I'm just not finding anything to talk to.
Right.
Oh man, does that cause a panic attack? That
Van-Vee,
you feel
Minerva,
alone?
you ready to go on the away mission? Let's see what we get.
Yeah, Van-Vee's like heading towards the door with his own equipment, but is also very interested in checking out the equipment that's like hanging by the door.
Yeah, before Quentin goes, he's gonna pop over to Penny and like check on her and like yada yada. I'll be back.
She's still in her medical coma.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Is Minerva deploying?
The core is being placed in the box, and the box is staying on the ship, and I'm going to remote the sledge onto the ship.
Okay. So the three of you deploy down on the elevator. You come out into the area, and you can hear coming from the headset that Quentin was floating earlier. I assume you floated down to you. You hear someone speaking in the ear going, hey, can you hear me? Is anyone there? Can you pick up?
Hello?
You put the scouter on, and it begins like showing additional data all around you, and like when you look at the armor and the weapons, it like shows you the number of shots left in the magazine of the rifle, and then there's like a HUD symbols for like how to put your armor on correctly. It's got like an arrow like place over your chest like this, secure snugly, and you hear someone in your ear going, "This is Sergeant Smith with the 66 FAST. Are you the volunteers we heard we're gonna dock?"
Where are you? Yeah, I'm something like that. Where are you? Who are you?
Look, we need help at the bridge. Captain Smith is having some real problems. Sorry, Captain Smalls is having some real problems. We need recruits, volunteers, whoever you have on board to help us secure the corridors and help repair the engines. I assume you got your briefing packets on the way in.
I assume I have a headset by now, and I say, secure them from what?
There's like a brief pause and say, we're not sure, but you'd better get your gear on. As you know from your briefing packets, there is a dimensional phase event happening, and we're worried about Jeremy's crossing over.
Sure. Quentin's looking around, and it's like, is there a packet? Does he see a packet?
You don't see
Is there a
packets.
loose leaflet on the ground?
Once you have fully gotten your headset on, you have your rifle, you've secured your armor over top of your normal clothing, your headset is indicating that you should go to a door in the northeast corner.
Captain. Wait, hold on. Do I hear any of this from the headset? Or
Have you put the headset on your sledge?
I have not put
a sledge with a headset?
I don't know if I could put it on the sledge.
You can.
Okay.
It appears to be adjustable such that it could fit on an alien head. Just like, it's like one of those headsets that, just kind of, you can work it a bit to get it to fit basically anything.
I'll stick it on the sledge.
Okay. You're hearing the same thing they are at the same time.
Wait, I think I have to go back to my prequel notes here.
Van-Vee is so excited for adult laser tag, he's ignoring all the danger here and just thinks this is a giant game.
So Van-Vee, after a few moments of getting all of your equipment on, you hear the voice in your head say, "This is Sergeant Smith. Who am I speaking to?"
Hey, Sergeant Smith. My name is Van-Vee.
Mr. Van-Vee, I've detected that you are currently armed. We're going to need you to take that weapon off. If there is a dimensional incursion from the dimensional phase, that thing's not going to do anything to Jeremy's. It's just a threat to everyone on board. You'd better leave it on your ship.
How are you seeing me right now?
There's a brief pause, and then we've got sensors working on board.
You do, because we can't detect anything on the ship. Seems like a dead hole to us.
There's a brief pause, and then it could be the dimensional incursion starting. You better hurry up.
Van-Vee's thinking of the
That's-
like the break questions for an AI and trying to translate that into how do I test if this thing's an NPC or not? Like a recording.
Van-Vee, do you remember back on Thord when we went to an escape room?
Sergeant Smith, have we been getting have we been getting any sightings of Germenstis Plagius near the spike drives?
Yes, that's right. Not this ship, but we have been having sightings of Germentius Plagueis attacking spike drives. We're worried that the dimensional incursion could bring them here. We need to get the ship repaired and back underway as soon as possible. It seems like at least someone here read their briefing packets.
Oh, whoop-de-doo, Minerva, you always do that.
Uh, is there like is there any like buttons or interface on the headset? Like, can I mute myself?
No, but you realize that if you take it off, you can't hear what's going on anymore, so.
All right. I'll just look over at the captain. The Jermies are a training scenario for the Imago Day.
Shoot.
If that's true, shouldn't you have
Press
heard of
on?
ARGS then?
If this was designed for human auxiliaries, then it would have been a different program than the one that I went through.
Well, that gives me a little more confidence that we're not in a ton of danger here.
This still sounds like fun.
Let's do it. Quentin puts he's armored up. He's got he's ready.
It's just like AR laser tag for adults.
So, just to be clear, Van-Vee, are you disarming yourself of your very real laser pistol?
I think I would because I've trusted Minerva's scans. Nothing is here,
Okay.
and we've pieced together that this is now potentially a simulation. I would keep my knife. I think I have a knife, right? Can I keep that?
I'm not going to stop you.
Well, I mean, does Captain Smith yell at me again for having a knife?
You mean Sergeant Smith?
Sergeant Smith, sorry.
Stop
does not.
promoting people.
I did mess it up. So, once you all appear to be ready, the door in the northeast corner opens up and your headsets all give you like yellow arrows pointing towards it. And you hear Smith go, "All right, looks like we got the green light. Seems like your mission group is prepared to go. Step into the corridor and move forward. We're going to get you into medical, quarantine you, make sure you haven't brought anything on board, and then I'll get you up to speed in person. Just be careful. If the dimensional incursion has started, and it sounds like sensors are being baffled right now, anything could happen. Jermies could come from anywhere. So stay frosty, gang."
You just see Van-Vee go, yeah, in person, and goes through the door.
Okay. You're moving up forward, up here through the door into the corridor?
Oh, yeah. Is this the first time in this entire show we've had to move our own tokens?
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
I think
didn't
you
even
should
have
be
that
able
open.
to.
I can
Select my token.
get a green outline, but I can't move them.
Interesting. I wonder if I have made a slight mistake.
Uh-oh. Wait, do I have
So
to
as we're walking down the hall,
Quick
as we
back.
start to work down the hall, and you work on that, in the training scenario that I ran, well, that I believed I ran, the Jermies exist inside of germanium, one of the core elements used for spec drive construction.
Gotcha.
The scenario was to engage in combat with them and to make best effort to save as many people as we could while mounting an effective defense.
Can you move
You
these?
know, Minerva, if
Yes.
if this really is some sort of simulation station or training, there really wouldn't be too much of a threat of you actually attacking or hacking the system now, would there? I mean,
Threat of me hacking something?
you could, I guess you could take a bigger peek behind the curtain if we needed to, right?
With access to a terminal, I suppose it could.
Oh, that's right.
I'll go ahead and send a picture to each of their comm links. That's what I remember that Jeremy's looking like from my time. It'll be like a freeze frame of them like going through the village trying to attack people.
They look a lot like Zerglings from StarCraft.
Sweet.
I'm ready. Yeah, I think like Van-Vee's just an overexcited child right now. He's like running through the door.
This
Yeah, like
corridor
Quentin hearing
is-
that it's some sort of like game or something is like immediately in the same vibe.
It is
I will.
classic sci-fi ship horror sequence. The floor that you're walking on is like a catwalk above a hexagonal corridor, right? So you're slightly off. There's pipes running down there. There's pipes running above you. There's strange markings in a language you don't understand along the side of the corridor.
Just a random wheel you can turn.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, random wheel you can turn. Yeah, and you can see that there's like a big, massive door up ahead of you.
Is the sledge gonna fit easily? Like, can I tell?
I mean, it can duck down and get in there. I mean, a sledge is meant to be doing transversal through ships, so in construction
remember,
sites.
like the sledge has the special rule of it can just choose to go through walls. It has all the equipment and strength to just cut through bulkheads.
Coming through.
So
This is a training.
I think we're back. My computer froze with no error code. It just all my screens went black, which is ominous, but something to solve
Not
later.
great.
Can you hear me? Is this actually working?
We can hear you. We can
Yes.
see you.
everything looks normal to us right now.
Okay.
We're all fine
System's
here.
Phenomenal.
Where were we?
We were discussing
so the question is,
where
you
to
do
land.
know where that radio signal is coming from.
Okay.
So it is coming from along the coast. There appears to be a underground facility that you're getting a better detection on the closer you get. It looks like if you fly down and enter into a sort of cave system that's just big enough for free trader class ships to enter, you can fly down and get into whatever submerged subterranean area this signal is coming from. That's acting as like a guide signal.
Could we walk down that tunnel? And if we did, how long would it take?
Not clear from this distance.
Captain, for places that you have not physically put your feet, what are your limitations with your ability to relocate yourself?
As long as I can see it with my naked eye.
Okay.
Can't be through like a video screen or something like that.
Unfortunate.
But it can be through a window, for example.
Let's see.
Where you make a tiny little hole and I can peek through.
I just worry about taking the ship underground.
Understandable.
Well, it seems like we don't really have an alternative. We going in?
Maybe this is your show. You think you can get us in and out? Then tag us in.
Well, we can definitely get us in. Getting out probably depends on what the dust does once we're in and who's in control of it.
Team effort. We'll get through it.
Okay.
All
I think
right.
that's where we're going to pause this episode then. Welcome to part one of, I'm guessing next episode will be the final episode. Have the end of the epilogue and then have some time to talk about the whole series, the whole season. Anything we want to say about this episode?
It's nice to have a fun palate cleanser laser tag adventure.
Sorry,
all
we
the
figured it out so
existential
quickly.
shit we were just doing.
Yeah.
And then we're like, well, we're just gonna back to back and figure out if we're gonna maybe murder a bunch of people, and then laser tag. Okay, we need this.
I want to imagine the future where you had come here first before meeting Fairy, before meeting Ro Piscadarian, where you had come here first and you were like, Jeremy's, they're real. And like you're fighting stuff and you maybe don't have a high enough computer's programming score to like instantly recognize. Now, you guys figured it out of character more or less in a way that makes it clear that I never should have tried to pull this, but I thought it would be fun for Kain to have his Aliens moment because I know he's a huge Aliens fan.
I did appreciate it.
I did want to make sure that you,
as a game.
I wanted you to understand when you were in the room with the dimensional crystal that it was fake as hell. Up till that point, it should have seemed more or less real. And then that room, it would be revealed that you're playing a game. You guys didn't get your briefing packets, and there were no attendant employees because, of course, everyone's been dead, and you didn't have a reservation.
I liked the way, like, the dimensional rift, the Jeremy's coming through, and I was like, that's my prequel. Hold on, let me get the fancy name. That's what I was scrolling for. I was like, here we go.
Plagueis? Yes.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you caught that, but yes, that is correct.
Have you heard the story of Germestus Plagueis?
Germanestus Plagueis. Critters, my note is critters that exist inside of germanium core material and spike drives. Con 955 to Gemina to find the loss. Okay, that's what I'm getting into another note. But yeah, I took notes about the Jeremys. Because I was terrified when I did that prequel that was going to be like a looming season 2 or 3 problem was a mass invasion of bugs.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the AI alpha, the threat of a looming invasion of bugs was supposed to force all of the planets to be like paralyzed, like anyone could be infected sort of deal. And your believing in it would have lended credence to the threat to make sure no one would work together and everyone would be suspicious. There's so much devious shit that the AI had planned out that I never got to do because you showed up at its front door and murdered it without listening to it. Like, the only way you can defeat me is if you follow the path that I lived and go to these specific planets in this order and like discover my story, and then you'll be ready to come back. You were just like, nope, let's kill it right now, immediately. None of that perfectly crafted, malevolent story of lies.
It's just like we showed up. MINERVA finally got like is real Imago Day now. Every thought is just begone, foul demon. Like
that's your dad. All right, you killed your father.
That's true. That's true.
See, that's how MINERVA's
no attempt at redemption. You are not Luke.
Yeah, no, MINERVA, sticking thoughts in nice simple boxes. Definitely is ignoring the fact that was its creator, and was like, nope, that's a totally separate. That was dangerous. That was real dangerous. I slayed the demon. Yeah. We're all good here. Don't ask me questions. I slayed a demon.
MINERVA is a firm believer in you are what you do.
Yeah, sure.
You are what you
do. Well,
and I'm really glad nobody asked MINERVA for too many questions about that because that would have caused another MINERVA crisis.
I do want to mention here at the end of the episode, thanks to Dunamis for his 5 years of subscribing. Absolute wild man.
That had to be in the middle of a time of Total Warfare. That had to be.
Yeah, that sounds right. I mean, it's been off the air for at least 4 years now, so.
Oh, wow.
Thanks to Bob for showing up just before my computer froze. Completely locked me out of being able to do anything. Sorry I missed you. Hopefully he's still with us. Anything else? We might need to get Dunamis over to 7 Days to Die after this. We got to get him there.
I'm pretty sure they had to be doing Horde Night during this episode.
Yeah, I saw that the two of them were on when I restarted Discord, so they have to have done that.
Y'all got your server going.
Yeah.
I think last night when Eternal Eye got off, it was like 17:30, so there's no way.
Okay. Wow. No time to prep then. All right.
He was prepping, and admittedly, I took like an extra 10 minutes because I was like, I really don't want to come back in with
before night.
30% infection. So I'm gonna go take all my clothes and armor off and walk into one of the wooden traps.
Wow, this guy. KainDamael, problem solver out here.
You are not the average person in a zombie movie.
Nope.
Where they're all like, quick, get a long sleeve shirt. You're like, later, guys, this is for you.
Oh, look at that. I respawned. I'm not thirsty. I'm not hungry. I don't have infected. I'm good.
I've respawned and had infected, so that really pisses me off.
Oh, weird.
It is strange.
I don't know. I didn't progress very far yesterday at all. I think I played, I don't know, maybe 2.5 hours. And for a solid hour and a half of that, I was concussed.
You were walking. Yes, I know.
Had a broken leg and was over encumbered. I couldn't move.
Oh my God.
Thank God for the bicycle.
You're a wild man, dude.
Too funny.
Any closing thoughts?
I'm really excited to see what horrible stuff happens to Van-Vee's mind.
That's just it. I want to see Van-Vee have some conversations here.
Actually, that's a good point. I should. Is it next week or the week after? Hold on. Let me check calendars. I think it's fine next week. Mm-hmm. Yeah, next week's fine.
Okay. Guess we'll give it a try. Friends at home, we'll see you for the final episode. Have a good night.